Okay, so the question is about whether nyasas are practical. There are the nyasas which I posted yesterday. Many of them, there are many nyasas given in Hari Bhakti Vilas, and they will not be very practical for sure. But at the same time, if people want to do them, they can do them. It's an anga of japa, you know. It can be done. It can be done as something to help.
Yeah, when I was young, I was given Upanayan Sanskar and then the Gayatri Mantra procedure, and the whole thing we had to do. I was doing with my father. It takes like more than half an hour to just get to chant the Gayatri. And doing all the Karanyasha mantra, then the Shapa Vimochan and so on. And so that was for my purification. My father made me do all that. And it is said that the Purascharan or Prashchitta is the chanting of Gayatri Mantra 1,25,000. So that was done.
So you did Purascharana of Gayatri for 1,25,000.
Yeah.
And how long did that take you?
That took me about maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks. And so every day you were doing maybe 10,000 or something? No? More than that.
Several hours every day. I don't remember how. My father was with me and then he was counting it. He would ask me how was it is.
Right.
2 weeks or 3 weeks, I'm not sure. And he would also sit and chant lakhs and lakhs of those Gayatri mantras.
And when you were chanting, when you're doing this Gayatri Purascharana, and when you're doing Gayatri Japa, are you chanting Gayatri with the Omkara in the beginning and Omkara at the end also, or not? Because recently, Kalki, who you might know, Kalki from Vrinda Mission in Miami, he was showing me some discussion in Chandogya Upanishad, but I think it was a commentary by somebody saying that the Omkara should come at the end also. But I don't know about that.
No, there was another, I think Sri Vaisnava in our area that time. He was saying, one time he went to get kusha from his yard. And do you know how many Omkars in the Gayatri Mantra? And he was saying, after each part you have to add Om. That's what he said. But then the Gayatri Mantra what we were chanting had only one Omkar in the beginning.
Right.
But while doing the procedure, you have to do pranayam. On the pranayam, we have so many Omkars. And that ends also with Omkar. Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Shva, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyam, Om Tattvavidur Varenyam, Om Bhargo Devashadimai, Om Diyo Yona Prachodayat, Om Apo Jyotirashamritam Brahma Bhurbhuva Shvarom.
Right. Like that. And this whole mantra for pranayam is called, I think Hobalam people, some Sri Vaishnavas, they call it a Dirgha Gayatri. They call it Dirgha Gayatri or a big Gayatri, a long Gayatri.
So we have to do pranayam with by inhaling, you chant one whole thing.
Yes.
And while you're keeping the air inside, chant 1 or 3 times.
Yes.
And then exhaling, chant 1 more time. I still do it just for pranayam like that. It's very good practice.
They chant Sri Vaishnavas usually they're chanting mentally this mantra when they do pranayam during kumbhaka, during the holding of the breath. They just breathe in, hold the breath, think of the mantra 3 times, then 4 times, 4 times on the next round, and then 3 times on the third round. So that means they end up chanting the mantra 10 times in the mind. But breathing, the breathing is done 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
There are some slightly different ways of doing it. The mantra is the same, except of course in Shukla Yajurveda people will say sva, and in Krishna Yajurveda they'll say suvaha. So a little bit different there. but that's it. Apart from that, the same mantra, and people are using it for pranayam, and then some people are doing japa of that also, of that whole long Gayatri. The Hobulamat people, they say you should do japa of that 1/10 of the number that you do the regular Gayatri. So if you do 108 regular Gayatris, you need to do 11 or 12.
Yeah, in my childhood I did that. I used to chant regularly 108 in the morning and evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't ask us to do 3 times a day. They only did twice a day. But I think my father was doing 3 times a day.
Yeah, it's difficult to do the Madhyanikam because we are doing the students are at school or the people are at the office. Many people nowadays that go to the office in South India, what they do is they do Prataha Sanyavandanam and Madhyanikam in the morning before they leave. And the pramana for that we discussed yesterday actually in the Zoom conference. The pramana for that is because on Ekadasi we have to break the fast before a certain time in the morning, and that the normal Sri Vaishnava thing is that they do the aradhana, they do the puja in the house before they eat, right? Because you have to offer the food, and then the food becomes prasadam, then you can only eat. So because if you have to eat very early in the morning, they do the 2 Sandhyavandanams before that, and then do puja and then eat. So they do it very early. So they say if you do it on Dwadasi, then you can do it any day. So that's the pramana for them, for office workers to do Madhyanikam in the morning. Yeah.
Okay. There was one more thought I just came in. Is saying about Gayatri mantra. As we know, the Gayatri mantra itself, it cannot be Gayatri because Gayatri usually have 24 syllables. According to meter, Gayatri Chanda.
Yes.
So therefore, you're supposed to be chanting Tat Savitru Vareniyam.
Yes, Vareniyam. Yes, correct. This is explained very nicely in the Ahobala Mat Anikam Grantha Volume 1, and they explain that when you're chanting, you have to chant Vareniyam in order to have 24 syllables. Yes. I was looking at that yesterday, actually, but people don't know that usually. That's so you also learned that when you were growing up.
Yeah, I learned, and later just saying, there are many Gayatri mantras of all kind of different deities of mantras. Gayatri mantras of different deities.
Right.
So
and
you count, you will find 24 syllables in that.
Yeah.
So, but if you say Tat Savitru Vareniyam, then you will not have 24 syllables.
Correct. I'm just looking for the place in the book. Here it is. It says when one performs the Gayatri Mantra Japa, the padam word, Varenyam, has to be split and recited as Vareniyam. Whoever recites without splitting Varenyam will end up in Narakam.
Oh, Krishna.
in Vedic Parayanam, when you're doing Parayana, Varenyam can be used as the word instead of Vareniyam. But during Japa, you have to do Vareniyam. And so they give some pramanas here. Varenyam viralam japyam japakale visheshataha parayane tu yuktam shat anyata nishpalam bhavet.
But the Gayatri mantra not supposed to be pronounced out loudly. So how can it be Parayanam can be done?
Well, that's interesting because when you engage some people to come and do Veda Parayanam, they come and they chant the whole Veda. So they'll just start with Bimi Ile, they'll start with the beginning, the first words. And when they come to the Gayatri Mantra, when it is mentioned in the Veda, a lot of times they're reciting out loud. And many times I've seen what the pundits do is they say it a little softer.
Oh, yeah.
When they come to that one verse, they say it a little softer. But I don't know. As you say, we have this idea. There's three ways of chanting any mantra. One can be manasika, and then upamamsu, which is japa, sort of murmuring or whispering, and then vachika, out loud, so other people can hear. So the definition of japa or upamamsu is that you're murmuring, you're saying the mantra, the lips are moving, but the person next to you cannot hear you. So it's that soft. Okay. Not like the japa that we have the ISKCON japa is also very loud. No, usually people are doing very loud japa. But actually, when I used to go on a morning walk with Prabhupada, his japa was very soft. People play that tape of Prabhupada chanting japa during japa periods in ISKCON temples, and but actually that tape was recorded in Australia when he was sitting at a fire ceremony, at a Diksha ceremony, and he was chanting out loud on people. He was chanting on some people's beads. So that wasn't his normal level of sound for chanting japa. If you ever went on a morning walk with Prabhupada, you know that he was chanting very softly. So people don't perhaps know that today.
Bhakti Priyad Bhagavat Maharaj, he gives Harinam seminars. He said Prabhupada never chanted on japa walk, the morning walk. Prabhupada usually have a danda in his right hand, and he walks and he talks with the devotees. He never had chanted on morning walk.
Well, I was on different morning walks. I was on some morning walks in Melbourne, Australia, and Prabhupada had the bead bag and he was chanting. And in fact, what happened was the GBC there, Madhavisa Swami at the time, he wanted to keep interrupting Prabhupada's japa to get him to say something, because Prabhupada came so very rarely to Australia that we all wanted him to say something. We didn't want him to chant japa. We didn't want to just chant japa. We wanted to hear him say something. So Madhavisa kept asking him questions, and so he kept speaking about different things. But his general tendency on the walks that I went on with him is he had his cane, but he also had his japa mala, and he was trying to chant. But the devotees kept interrupting him. So there's some other pramanas here also. Vareniyam jape proktam, varenyam veda patake.
Okay.
Sayati narakam ghoram, varenyamiti yo japet. So then he says, Srimad.
This is not taught in our sampradaya.
I think it's not so important, but mostly this particular book, Ahobalam Anikam, is very very much into the details.
Yeah, knowing all that, now we are in the Hare Krishna movement. So should we put more importance in Gayatri or the chant of Hare Krishna?
Right.
The question remains.
Anyhow, so what does it say? Srimad Ananyarya Mahadeshika has based his Japya Gayatri Swaravanoccharana Niyama from Vishwamitra Vachanam. He supports this view. Okay, so there's some more pramanas here about it. And anyway, it's interesting. One does not need to split it this way for Veda Parayanam. One only has to do it at Japa Kala, at the time of Japa. Okay. Some scholars consider that Vareniyam should be used during the time of Japa and also at the time of invoking Dirgha Gayatri, right, containing Pranavam, Saptavyahritis, and the Shiras, meaning the Pranayam mantra. So some people say, some scholars say Vareniyam should also be used when you're doing the Pranayama mantra. They recommend the usage of Varenyam without the I during other times. Most of the Anustatas do not agree.
Yeah.
The Smriti Ratnakara Pranayam Prakaranam section on pranayam, the explanation is given for the need to have such a split to realize the needed 24 aksharas. In matters of controversy, it is suggested that one take the advice of elders in the family. So sistacha, basically, that your family, whoever you're discussing, whoever who's teaching you, you just follow what they tell you. Is what the recommendation is, basically. So that, anyway, yeah, it's interesting that's there. I don't know if I mentioned this in the Sandhya Vandanam prayoga that I made for devotees. I don't know if I mentioned this thing about Vareniyam or not. Anyway, I don't think it's that important, but probably people are going to in ISKCON Gaudiya, they're going to chant the way their guru has told them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's not whatever I say, nobody's going to care much.
They'll pull out, oh, Prabhupada didn't say that. No, Prabhupada didn't say that.
Exactly, yeah. That's right. Although it would be, it's nice, I guess it's nice if they learn the swaram, that would be nice. But yeah, as far as this technicality, I don't know. People don't care that much. So, yeah, as far as the nyasas are concerned, getting back to the nyasas, there are a lot of nyasas in Hari Bhakti Vilas. It's very much like I looked at Sharda Tilaka and some other mantra shastras and tantric agamic shastras. They contain a lot of nyasas, so seems like Gaudiya Math and ISKCON, even Bhaktisiddhanta, I think Keshav Maharaj was writing an introduction to Archana Padati. He said that they don't use the nyasas. They consider it to be not conducive for bhakti. Bit of a sidetrack to bhakti. So
I remember that what was called the Satya Sadhipika's introduction when I was translating many years ago. But Gopal Bhatta Goswami says, as Vaishnava, we should not practice nyasa.
In Sakriya Sar.
Yeah, the nyasa, the sankalpa.
That I don't remember that being in Satkriya Sar, but at the same time, in Satkriya Sar, there are every mantra in Satkriya Sar has the mantra nyasa there.
Yeah, that's right.
So if the author didn't think that the nyasa was necessary, why would he put it there?
Yeah. There are a few things I remember. The nyasa, viniyoga, and sankalpa, and those. Yeah, few things. Of course, the worship of demigod and pitris. All these things are not recommended. That was many years ago, and I was translating it.
Right, I saw in the translation of the Gurukul, the Mayapur Gurukul translation of Satkriya Sar Dipika. They have made a little footnote, and they say that the mantra nyasa and viniyoga and everything doesn't need to be chanted during time of doing homa.
Yeah.
And they give some quote. They say that is according to Narada Purana or something like that. But they don't actually list the place for the pramana. So you don't know anything about that, because I never heard that before.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
Because people in South India, they're always doing the mantra nyas. They're always doing it before they do it. And if you read Chandogya Upanishad, by the way, which is a very important Upanishad, there's a whole section in Chandogya Upanishad where they specifically state that there were some Brahmins chanting mantras, and one sage said, "Do you know the devata for this mantra? And do you know the meter? And do you know the viniyoga, the purpose?" And people said no. It said you will die if you don't know. You know, there's some curse on you if you don't know. It becomes useless if you don't know. And we have a book called, you probably know, Brihad Devata. Brihad Devata is a book which gives, for every single mantra in the Vedas, it gives the Devata, so that people can know the Devata at least. Of course, the purpose of each mantra, you know, there are many purposes for different mantras. You know, some of the mantras from from Sandhyavandanam, from Prokshana and everything, they're also used in Abhisheka, Dari Krabno Akadasham and Pohistama Yobhuva. These mantras are used in Abhisheka also. So every Veda mantra may have more than one use. So we can't say that the use is always the same, but the Devata is always considered to be the same, and that's why they have that book, Brihad Devata.
Yeah, that is for sure. Because what the Purusha Sukta, as Vaishnava, we chant for Lord Narayan or for Krishna, and at the same time in Ashtadhyayi Rudri, the Purusha Sukta is chanted for Lord Shiva.
Right. And sometimes they have some in South India. They have some Narasimha Bhaktas, seeing as it's Narasimha Jayanti today. They have some Narasimha Bhaktas who also chant Rudram for Narasimha. And then you know, I have people like Brahma Muhurta, who you might know. He likes to chant this. He likes to chant Chamakam in his homas.
I do have the book that I use for Rudra Abhishek. And sometimes people do. People have to move, especially in our Nepali tradition and the communities. If they have to move into new house, they want to do Rudri.
They want to do Rudri, yeah.
Or the whole Rudram we have to chant.
Right, right.
Since I have done in my childhood, so I just know all the things.
Right. There is in South India, there's a slight difference between Taittiriya Aranyaka has some two different readings, which is one is called Dravidapat and one is called Andrapat and Dravidapat, and one includes more Shaiva mantras, and the Sri Vaishnavas consider their version to be, which doesn't have so many Shiva mantras in it, in Rudram, to be more authentic. But there's just two different methods of chanting. Yeah, of Rudram. I think it's Rudram. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, of course. Even in Vaishnava Sampradayas, people are chanting all of the Vedas, because in Gita Krishna says, "By all the Vedas I'm to be known." So even Rudram, Chamakam, all these different Devi Shuktam, all these things can be chanted. It's not improper. The Madhvas, of course, they think of the Antaryamin of the Devata. So they're worshipping Narayana as the Antaryamin of the Devata. So they can do any Devata puja. Sri Vaishnavas, of course, don't like to do Devata puja. They don't like to do Anya Devata puja, they call it. They only like to worship Sriman Narayana. And in other sampradayas, it's sort of a mixture. Even in Gaudiya Sampradaya, you find people are doing some worship of Gopishwa Mahadev, Bankadi Mahadev, or they might, or even the gopis are doing Katyayani Vrata. They're worshipping Katyayani. So, but the aim is to get Krishna. The aim is to worship Krishna. The aim is to be devoted to Krishna. So.
Some years ago, I found one of the website from Sri Ramanujachari. There is one Pandit, I think, South India. He kind of posted some of the books on worship of different deities, devatas, like Navagraha Puja also he does, and Vastu Puja and so on. There was, and so he includes all the, Kuberas, Yamas, and all the demigods of that. So I was thinking, could I use that kind of prayoga as Vaishnava, or is kind of offensive to use? because we're not supposed to be worshipping.
Yeah, well, I mean, in Hari Bhakti Vilas, all those devatas are being worshipped. Vastu Puja is there in Hari Bhakti Vilas. If you look in the 20th and the 19th Vilas, which is about the installation of the deity, Prana Pratistha, there is Vastu Puja in the beginning. It mentions especially the Vastu Puja for the temple, but it also mentions that there is a Vastu Puja for the house. Just that there is a different Vastu Mandala. In South India, people, when they do Vastu Puja, they tend to just do a Homa. They just do Vastu Homa. In North India, North India they have a mandala, and they invoke different devatas. Supposed to be, I think, 45 devatas who are sitting on the top of Vastu. There's a story in Agni Purana. I looked it up because I was doing an explanation of Prana Pratistha according to Gaudiya Sampradaya and Hari Bhakti Vilas, and so it quotes from Agni Purana. So you go to Agni Purana and you see the story of Vastu, and the story of Vastu is that he was created by Shiva. He's a son of Shiva, and as soon as he was born, he was very, very hungry, and he wanted to eat everything, and he wanted to eat the whole universe. And so the devatas thought, what can we do? This person, if we leave him alone, he's going to take everything. He's going to get everything and eat it. So they pushed him down onto the earth flat, and 45 of them are sitting on top of him to stop him from doing that. But then he said, he prayed to his father Shiva and said, look, you created me and I'm hungry, so you have to feed me something. So apparently they said, okay, so although we don't let you eat the whole universe, we won't let you take all the pala, all the fruits of all the sacrifices, but if people offer worship to you, you can have that. You can have that fruit. If people don't worship you, then you can take the fruit from their endeavors, like that. So that's why it becomes important to worship Vastu, is because of this story that if you don't worship him, he's going to take away all the results from all your pujas.
So far, whenever I rarely I did Vastu Puja, and I kind of following the Gopal Bhatta Goswami's, the replacement procedure.
Oh.
So I just put all the Vaishnavas there, and however it is mentioned there,
Oh, in Satkriya Sardipika, yes, of course. But I don't know. Satkriya Sard, to me, it's not an authentic book of Gopal Bhatta, the original Gopal Bhatta. It's obviously a Gaudiya book, no doubt. It's a Gaudiya Vaishnava book. It may be by some other person called Gopal Bhatta, but how the same person, Gopal Bhatta, can write Hari Bhakti Vilas and also write Satkriya Sar, I don't know, because in Hari Bhakti Vilas it's very clear. Gopal Bhatta says you can worship Ganesh, you can worship Vishwakshana, you can also worship Ganesh, and there are so many devatas, especially in the 19th in the installation of the deity. There's even some devatas which they say in Hari Bhakti Vilas that usually this devata is offered meat in an offering, but instead of offering meat, you should offer payasam. You should only offer kheer or sweet rice. And so devata worship is definitely there in Hari Bhakti Vilas as a ancillary, as a not as a main puja, but as part of the worship of Krishna, as his part of his entourage, whereas in Satkriya Sar it's completely forbidden, and it's replaced completely with worship of Vaishnavas and worship of great Bhagavatas, Mahabhagavatas. So it's very different philosophy, because Satkriya Sar says no demigod, no devata worship whatsoever, but see, we can say Shiva is a great Mahabhagavata, so why we can't worship Shiva?
I mean, and Dwadash Mahaja, and that, and so if Shiva is coming there, Yamaraj is coming there, and
yes,
so we include some of them and exclude some of them.
Yes, So I think I think it mainly depends upon the faith of the yajamana, the sponsor, the person who engages the priest. He has a particular faith, and if he doesn't want to emphasize devatas at all, then the priest can do a ceremony and say, we are worshiping the Mahabhagavatas. If you don't want to worship the planets, we can worship the Navyogendras, and as you like, like that. If the person, on the other hand, thinks of the devatas as being angas of Lord Vishnu, or in some way part of his parivara, part of his entourage, that in that way, if that's acceptable to the yajamana, then the priest can do it like that.
So either way, it's no problem.
I don't think there's a problem. I basically think that the priests, the Brihaspatis or the Purohits, they have to adjust to what the yajamana. Of course, you can make a suggestion. You can suggest, if somebody comes to me and says, oh, I went to an astrologer and he says I should kill a goat and offer it to Devi, I'll say, you don't have to kill the goat. You can do it in another way. You can do a homa. You can offer ghee and oblations like this, or you can also even what the madhvas do is they make animals, pista animals. They'll make an animal out of grains or out of flour or something, and they'll use that. Or sometimes they do these things where you get a coconut or a fruit and you cut it.
In the village I've seen those are like not meat eaters. They will do like the white pumpkin, and they cut it up, chop it up.
Right. I know. I have another friend of mine, Lakshmana, and he's in Madrid in Spain, and he has a whole group of Bengali community there that use him as a priest, and they're always doing these Devi pujas, and in the puja there's a place where they have to cut the animal, and but instead even they say, we don't do that. We take a fruit and we cut it. And we say the mantra and we take a piece of fruit and we cut it. So they have some way of rationalizing that and doing that. I think that's nice, because
and some place I found it's like maybe is misunderstood by some people, and they took it as to offer meat, but it is supposed to be Masha Bhaktavali. Masha means the urad dal.
Yes.
Urad dal.
A different concept. Yeah.
That can work. You don't have to, so
Sure.
People who wanted to eat meat, so they took it as a Masha means meat. So that's kind of different tradition came out, but it is not supposed to be like that.
Right. I mean, I went one time. I went with a friend of mine, Sukhabak Das, who was a Sanskrit scholar. We were in Calcutta, and he said, because we're in Calcutta, do you want to go and see Kalighat temple? And I said, I have no interest to go see Kalighat, but if you want to go, we'll go. So we went, and we went and outside they have the puja shops, and they're selling bananas and flowers and different things to offer. And also they're selling little goats that you can take in, and they can cut the goat and offer the head to Kali, and offer the body into the kitchen and make some food and give to poor people or whatever they do. So we went inside, and we noticed that there were also different people from different parts of India, and there were South Indians. There were people who were from South India there, and what they would do is, instead of buying a goat, they would buy, because most of even the Shaivas in South India, they're vegetarians. So they would buy ghee. They buy some ghee, and they go into the temple. In the back of the temple, there was a Yoni Kunda.
Okay.
And there was a man there, and they would take the ghee there, and he would offer homa oblations, libations of ghee, ahutis to Devi, like that, instead of bringing a goat inside, like that. Right, so just different approaches. I think everything can be done in a more sattvic way and in a more tamasic way. I think even we know in Bengali Vaishnavism, there are some sects which are more rajasic, more tamasic, you know, in the way they do things. And hopefully we don't belong to a sect like that. We belong to a more sattvic sect, and try to do things in a more sattvic way. So I think that's also up to the Brahmin, up to the priest, the Purohit, to recommend to people, always to recommend to people to do things in a different way, in a more sattvic way.
Yeah, that one has to be more, it's called more open-minded, that there is an option, you know. People don't give option, okay, go ahead and do this. One has to know the different options that can be recommended.